When enough isn't enough, burning money in the startup phase. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa. I'm the Director of Marketing. Before I bring our special guest in here, I just wanted to ask, are you in a place where you thought you had enough money as a startup, but you don't know what you don't know? So you're in a tighter place now? Today, we are talking about burning money in the startup phase, but more importantly, how to avoid it and to prepare yourself for it. So I have Fred Cary, who is the IdeaPros CEO. Hello, Fred.
Hi.
Fred's like, you didn't say it right, Tessa.
No,
I know.
I'm laughing because I was counting the seconds to see, as you guys that tune in every week,
Oh,
I have a standing $1 million offer if she doesn't laugh.
I
And she
can't.
laughed.
I'm just too happy because being happy never goes out of style. So it rubs off. But I hope that Fred's knowledge and the people that he is surrounded by right now rubs off on us so that we don't have to struggle through the money situation.
It's 2 million you've lost. Um, hey, everybody. I've got some friends with me, and they are, we'll probably talk to one or two of them as we go through this. We're sitting around talking about money. And that's something that is, if you're starting a company, that's something you need to be talking about every single day. And it's something that you believe you can do without because your idea is so damn awesome. But that's not how things really are. So we're going to talk about when you first start out, anticipating how much money you need to get going, when you start going, what you're going to need to be looking at, and how part of your lifelong career is going to be searching for capital, no matter how big you get. Even the largest companies in the world are out selling their shares and bringing in more capital to accelerate their growth. So I'm going to teach you how to get comfortable with that, how to understand it's part of the process. Don't give up when you find out you need to go rob the piggy bank or the real bank, and we'll take this step by step. Okay.
Sounds good. So, do you want to introduce us to your friends in the background there?
I'll let them introduce themselves.
Mike Novielli, Duchess Capital. Jim Mahoney, also with the firm, Duchess Capital.
Robert Heimers, a CPA. I'm with Duchess Capital.
So we got 3/4 of that group here. We're, as some of you know, we're preparing to go IPO here with IdeaPros, and that is an intense process. We're going to be talking about that as soon as I'm done having fun here. But let's start talking about just starting a company. You know, when you have a good idea and you want to turn that into something, some subset of you have come to IdeaPros and we've entered into partnerships with you, and you've spent a lot of money to partner with us, but it actually is a fraction of the amount of money that you need, whether you partner with us or not. If you don't partner with us and you have an idea that you want to turn into a product, go find $1 million, at least $500,000. And then you can, if you do things right, get to a very small nationwide launch that you can grow from. But also be prepared that things are going to take a lot more time than you think they're going to take. And when you think something's going to take 6 months, it's going to take 18. When you think it's going to take a year, it could take 3 or 4. When you're a company like Google, you can wait 10 years before you make a penny. When you're a company like Airbnb, you can go out and sell giant cereal boxes during political elections to try to get enough money to buy ramen. Those companies, study them. None of them are the companies that, or were the companies that they are today. And they all went through long, hard journeys. They all struggled to find money, selling the cereal boxes in that example. And they've all made it because they've persevered, they planned, and they never gave up. So that's the 3 things that you really need to think about: persevering and planning, never giving up. If you're on a good idea, you may just not be approaching it the right way. So let's talk about the first thing that people do wrong and how you can conserve capital if you do it the right way. The first thing is you go out and build something and you want it to be amazing and you want to have every single feature that you could possibly have in it. In fact, I had somebody here today, one of my partners, that had a bunch of features that she wants to put in the first version of her app that I told her, no, we don't need this, we don't need that, we don't need the other. Let's find the core things that we know for sure that your customer is really going to want. Don't anticipate their wants on everything else, because you could very well, and you are likely to be wrong on what those things are. I had a company called Path One, and we built this amazing technology hardware for companies that were very successful and very sophisticated organizations. And we had a top 10 list of the things that they would love to have in our technology. And we used them in our sales pitch decks when we went out to sell. About a year in, we did interviews and surveys with these customers. And out of the 10 things on that list, there was one that they all wanted. 1 out of 10. And then we found out there were 2 other things they were using it for that weren't even on our top 10 list. So don't build out something with all the bells and whistles, get complete engineering, go spend $300,000-$400,000 on building out your app. Don't do all those things until you know that the people who are your target actually want it.
I love that. So I have to just stop you there, because this is one of my favorite topics, and that's, target audience research. So surveys, understanding your market, the market research, those are all things that go into this initial phase to be able to stay lean, is that you really understand and have asked them what they want. Now, there's like this huge, Fred, I know people are going to be saying in their head, well, how do I ask people without telling the world what I'm thinking of doing? So how do you recommend they do that?
Well, that's the second part of this. Number one, don't worry about it, because the reality is hardly anybody's going to steal your idea. Because most of the time when you're talking about it, your idea is still kind of at a rough stage. There are a lot of things you're going to have to do with it. Anybody who's my partner knows that there are going to be a whole lot of pivots before you get to the finish line, which is the starting point. And those pivots happen because of the feedback we get. We just launched a product right now that looks nothing like what we started with. I'm not going to tell you the product, just simply not because I'm afraid you're going to steal it, but because we're doing a big launch of it and I want to be kept secret there. But this product, this finished product, is zero to do with what the original product was. And it went through massive amounts of changes because of what we learned while we were getting ready to build. So protecting yourself against people who are going to go out and steal your idea. It's the same thing as writing a 60-page business plan nowadays. Don't worry about it. 60-page business plans are fantasy, fiction. You actually go out and get financing for movies, right?
All the time.
All the time. That's exactly what a business plan is. It's based on your assumptions of a model that you know nothing about, going towards an audience that you haven't even met with yet, and building out a 5-year plan of something that's in your head that you think you want, and that is very unlikely to be anywhere near the truth. I call it anal extraction, actually. And so don't worry about it. Go to your target audience. So if you have an app that you're building and there's a certain subset of users that you think would really love to have it, go find out who they are. Start talking to them. Hey, I have a solution that's going to address these problems, and you seem like the right target for me. What do you think about that?
Well, I have something on the screen that Corey said, and this is one of our partners, but he posted on LinkedIn and asked HR Connections if they could interview them, which I think is awesome. You got one-on-one attention from potential target audience too, so you could ask the right questions. Good job, Corey.
And we're still building your app, and your app is in kind of the headhunter space, the job seeker space, and that's exactly what you should do. That's what every one of you should do. We have the abilities that we have now compared to when I first started. The internet has changed everything. You can reach people all over the world who are your target audiences or who can be your resellers, and talk to them in advance. What should I be building? This is the problem, and I got a solution, but I want to make sure I have the right solution. So instead of building what you believe the right solution is and spending $300,000 on getting a prototype of something that you later find out that nobody wants, go find out first and build what your customer wants. Don't build what your mom wants.
Absolutely. Perfect. So I think you also wanted to talk to us about how much usually the expenses grow, but our revenue doesn't. So what can we do to kind of rein in the costs that we're going to incur in this?
Well, part of that is exactly what we talked about, right? You're building something and you want to build this next great eighth wonder of the world right from day one. And that's a big mistake because number one, 75% of startup businesses fail. The number one reason that they fail, listen to this. This is shocking and it's so stupid. The number one reason they fail is because they built something that nobody wants. You build something that nobody wants. That's the number one reason for failure. And you do that by spending a ton of money creating this enormous thing that nobody wants. So don't do that. Do MVP came from the lean startup world, right? Minimum viable product. You want to build something that has functionality, the core key functionality of the problem you're trying to address, without putting in all those bells and whistles that end up costing more than the very valuable centerpiece of what you're trying to build. So you can reduce costs greatly by either eliminating your engineering firm or even going getting a white label product that kind of does sort of what you want to do, dressing it up, putting your name on it, shopping it around and see what people think. Find ways to minimize the very heavy duty engineering costs, software development costs, the big expenses. I spend a couple $100,000 a month on our software development. Granted, we're doing it for a bunch of partners, but it's a lot of money. Between that and engineering, big, huge costs. So why would you spend that money when you don't know if anybody's going to buy what you have in the finish line? That's the biggest cost savings you can do. Don't overbuild. Get your dream, bring it here, and get it myopically focused on the core value proposition of what you're going to be offering.
All right. Thank you. So what if we're in a position where we need to get funding then? We've realized we don't have enough. So what can we do?
Well, you never have enough. So you don't have to realize that, just anticipate that. In fact, we were talking offline here. I had a top 10 list that I would give my CFOs anytime I brought a CFO into my company. And the very number one item on that list was don't let me run out of money. Because you do spend more than you think you have to spend, because you're going to find out the number of resources that you bring into your company, none of them are going to work as hard as you. No human resource is going to work as hard as the founder, unless you're a really crappy founder and you think it's all going to happen for you. You're working day and night, you're working on the weekends, and now when you want to bring in a second person or a fifth person, they have their own lives and they have their clock that they watch, and they're going to put in the amount of work that's necessary for them. You can inspire them to work harder and to work more, but nobody's going to work as hard as you think they're going to work. Therefore, the human resources, especially if you're inexperienced, that you bring in are not going to match what you think they're going to do. So you're going to need more people than you believe you're going to need. That's a big one. And when you need those extra people, you need to worry about their health insurance. You need to worry about, in California here by June, you need to worry about retirement plans, even though the bottom level California retirement plan doesn't cost the employer anything, but there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be done, and you're paying somebody to do those things, even when you have free plans or when you have a 401k plan for your employees that you're not contributing to. Somebody needs to manage that. You need to have an HR department. So a lot of expenses that you don't think about as a startup are going to show up, and they're going to rear their ugly heads. And when you couple the fact that you're spending more with the fact that you're not going to be earning what you think you're going to earn, because what you thought took you 6 months is going to take you 18, then there's a whole lot of cash burn happening. So there's a lot of places where you can go out and get the capital you need, although 87% of all startups are self-funded by your savings, by borrowing on your own retirement plan, by selling your house, by getting a second mortgage, by selling, in my case, when I was 26, sailboat that I saved up 6 years to buy, and I sold it after I had it for 3 weeks because I had a new idea for a new adventure. You're going to be spending a lot of money, and so you need to know, where am I going to get the money? Maybe I have really good credit and I can go get $50,000 worth of credit cards, but you need money. Nobody's going to take your idea when you launch and all of a sudden the world is going to come screaming at your door and buying what you have. When you launch, you're this, if you're lucky enough to launch, you're this little star up in the universe that nobody sees until you buy that big ass telescope and point it right in the right direction. That's marketing, advertising dollars, and it takes a lot. It takes $2.50 to $5 to get one download on your new app. Do the math on that. It's a lot of money. So think about friends, think about family. Well, we used to call them friends, family, and fools.
But they're not fools.
Well, when you're first starting a company, you haven't even started yet, right? That you say friends, family, and fools, but it's the fools that end up making a lot of money when they make the right bets. You know, the first fool that invested in Amazon, for example. But the reality is, you're always going to need money, and that's the place you need to start thinking about it right away. Once you get ready to launch, you have other alternatives, and we'll talk about those in a minute. But think about your rich uncle. Think about your dad that you weren't getting along with and you want to be friends with now because he might be able to give you $25,000. But start thinking about the places you're going to need to get money and start practicing, because if I'm going to give you money and I'm your friend or your uncle or whoever, you need to understand that I need to hear very clear things from you. What am I building? Why am I building it? Who are the competitors? What do the competitors do? Where do they mess up? What do the customers say about how they mess up? 1-star, 2-star reviews. What am I going to do to make those customers really happy? How am I going to take those 1-2-star reviews that my competition has and make them my 5-star reviews? And how am I not going to only keep a customer, but make that customer a big fan of what I'm doing, make them love me, so they're going to tell all their friends? If you don't know how to say all those things, you're not going to get any money from anybody. So go in the mirror, practice that every day, because you're going to need to do that.
What types, I mean, you mentioned some other ways for us to get funding, and you were going to clue us in. What exactly do you have? I know you had some people that behind you that might help us out with this question too.
4, we're going to get to that part.
Oh, but step 4. So hang in there, guys. Yeah.
The step 2 is, you can go to some small angel groups, and you can go, and for the last several years now, there's something called equity crowdfunding. We have, IdeaPros has a partnership with WeFunder. WeFunder has 40% market share in the equity crowdfunding space. And basically you're sort of a public company, but not really. You're a public company in the sense that there is some rules, SEC rules, that allow you to go out and raise money this way. But the reality is there's no reporting requirements. People cannot trade your stock. And just like with product crowdfunding, people are kind of betting that at some point you're going to actually release what you have, and then you're going to get acquired, or you're going to go public, and then what they have is going to have value. But they do it as much to invest in you as anything else. We have our first test case right now with Wendy with Exhale. In fact, if you have that, the link to her campaign, I don't know. Yes. If you have that, you should put it so that anybody watching this can go invest. I'm not giving you investment advice, but that's a really good test case, because she hasn't, well, she's supposed to launch today, very first day, but she doesn't have any revenue from that yet. She's already raised $120,000 at $3.5 million valuation. So our piece of that is technically worth $1 million, and she hasn't even sold a first course yet. So that's a real good way to go raise money. You still need that rich uncle or somebody, because you need to have what's called a lead investor that's going to give you maybe $25,000. You need that to open up a WeFunder campaign, and then after that you can raise up to $5-6 million in those campaigns. There's companies out there that go raise money every single year through WeFunder, but that's another really good approach to do so. So After you've done that, after you've gone live, after you start making traction, if you're doing really well, even if you're a small company, there is an opportunity to go public. And the guys at Duchess, Mike, you've been doing this, what, 20 years?
26 years we've been in business. I've been on Wall Street 31 years.
31 years on Wall Street. And like, how would a small company, what would be attractive for a small company to be able to raise capital?
How would they go about raising capital? So, I mean.
Can you hear okay,
A
Tessa?
little bit louder and we'd be great. We'll move everyone around.
I mean, ideally, as you said, when a business progresses to that point where you need significant capital in order to take the next step, as Fred said, you know, there's crowdfunding sources out there right now. You know, one of the things that's kind of sprouted up in the last few years are financial publishers that will bring your company to their subscriber base that are looking for investment ideas. And it's kind of a little bit of the next step, next generation of crowdfunding, using what's called Regulation CF as a crowdfund, or Regulation A for much larger offerings, and before you even go public. So if you feel like your company is at that point, you can go to the SEC's website at sec.gov. You can research Regulation CF, Regulation A, and Googling it as well and finding the resources that are out there, the financial publishers that specialize in these types of offerings, or bringing your company and an idea to their subscriber network, and you can raise anywhere. We've seen deals done as small as $250,000 and as large as $50 million.
Wow.
And most recently $50 million. So it's a platform, or it's a tool that's raised north of, I'm going to say, close to $1 billion for small businesses that are looking to take that next step. $1 billion in the last several years. So it's a growing market that probably most entrepreneurs don't even know about today, that I would recommend. That's a good place to start.
Awesome. And there's a couple other things too. Grants, and we have an affiliation with a company that does government grants, and that's free giveaway money. You don't have to pay it back. You don't give up any equity. And if you have something that's interesting to any element of government, you have a pretty good chance of getting one. I think something like 30% of grant applicants get something. And I think with our partner, I think it's up to 50% get some grant money. And finally, you know, there's always the Sba loans. The Sba helps small businesses. Whatever potential solutions you have, start lining them up. Start thinking about what happens if I need 50 grand? What happens if I need 100 grand? What happens if I'm going to do a regular product crowdfunding campaign, but I need $50,000 for advertising expenses? How am I going to get it? Where am I going to get it? Start today. Start thinking about it. Even my company, right? We're a seasoned company. We're doing really well. We're growing really fast. And yet I'm going public to raise additional capital to accelerate my growth. It's not always that you need money just to keep the lights on. You need money to add some jet fuel to what you're doing as well. So whether you have is what I used to call in my early days, too much month for my money, or whether you just want to grow faster, always think that money is going to be a critical component of what you're building and the life that you want to have ahead of you. That's good, but you're muted. This is how you
Muted.
make $1 million if you mute yourself through the whole
I just
show.
need to mute myself for the whole show. Guys, I put in the chat the number. If you were interested in the grants program, you just text grants with an S, please, grants, to that phone number, and it will send you the show that we did with the organization and the link to their website to find out more. And then we also have WeFunder in there. I know we had a lot of people saying great things, and that Vance says that's awesome. All of the information that you guys have been covering today, Fred, is amazing. Did you want to leave us with any final thoughts before we let you go?
Yeah, don't do this. Well, I should say don't do this, because it's crazy and it's hard, and you're going to have a lot of sleepless nights. And that's if you're successful. So you have to be really willing to accept failure, but accept that as a temporary stop in your journey towards success. The harder you work, the luckier you get. You've heard that expression before. And you can't work hard if you treat every failure as the end of the road. I've been struggling for months. We had a disaster with some of our apps that a smarter human being may have quit. But I kept persevering, finding ways, finding solutions, getting it done. And that's the mentality you have to have. And that's why you need to think about this part. I'm never going to be wealthy enough. I'm never going to have everything figured out just right. I'm not going to make as much money as early as I think I'm going to make. Accept those things as realities, and then you can prepare for them and get the battle armament that you need in order to succeed in the long run.
The rewards are so good. So it's not just, the risks are there, but you can have that freedom. And I think there's so much. That's why we do what we do. Right, Fred?
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys in the background by Fred. Also, we appreciate you being on. I'm just going to let Fred go so you guys can talk about important business stuff. And we'll see you. Thank you, Fred.
All right. Take care. See you next week. Or see you on Instagram.
There you go. Go check out Official Fred Cary. As you guys know, you get lots of good information, inspirational, as well as just down and dirty tips on what to do in your life to be a more purpose-driven entrepreneur. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Well, Fred has courses coming out, guys. I know that, I don't know why I'm saying guys today. You're all just guys. No, guys and gals, everyone, entrepreneurs. How about that? So I am here with Fred and our team and experts every single Friday at noon Pacific time. Before you go, let me know in the chat if there's anything that you guys want to see us cover, topics, please, because I am finding experts in all areas that we need to cover for you. So if you are working on how to pitch, how to create a pitch deck, how to raise funds, what else is there? There's lots. Let me know in the chat before you leave so that we can get the right people. I have a mobile app specialist that I am wooing right now to come on to our show and tell us how to do the best possible advertising for mobile apps. I know on our product side, we have we have a market research specialist on our team who's going to cover how to find the right target audience and make sure that it is a viable option before you go in. So Kyle, you have to tell me which one were you interested in. You have to give me feedback so I can make it happen for you guys. So let me know. I know we've talked about interviews, how to get onto podcasts, how to get PR. If there's anything that you guys need help with, setting up LLC. Actually, the LLC part, we actually have a specialist coming on to our partner meeting this month, May 10th. For our partners, we do a special insider circle, and we do have an LLC specialist coming to that, which means hopefully we'll have some little outtakes and a show that we can put together for you guys about how to set up LLC and those legal aspects of business that we don't, as IdeaPros, actually cover, but is really important. Kyle says mobile app advertising. I got you. I am getting the best of the best to give you guys a presentation on how to do mobile advertising the best that you can, how to get the lowest cost for downloads, and ways to do organic, how to use your social media to do app marketing, coming very soon. He said yes. We just have to pick a date. And Vance says how to prepare the backside of apps to answer questions for your customers. Beautiful question. I think knowledge bases and what we offer in Go High Level might be a great fit for you. So Go High Level is a software that we use and we build specifically for our partners, and it has its own knowledge base in the back of it. So you can actually put frequently asked questions and let people search. And there's also a chat widget attached to that, and you can do ticketing. So I feel like that might be a great fit for you, Vance. I will add it to the list of topics, but definitely let us know if you're catching the replay and you've made it to this point. You are awesome. And we still want to know. So I watch the comments even after we post these lives. So come on, go ahead and post, and I will keep an eye out for these topics. You can also click on the link in the post, and that is for question and answers. So you can submit a question, and that's more private. Hey, good job, Stephen, you made it. High five. And guys, we will be back next Friday at noon Pacific time. Like I said, I have a couple really, really great shows coming up for you. And then we'll have more from Fred, of course. And if you guys have any questions about becoming a partner or working with IdeaPros, you can go to IdeaPros.com and click Start Now. Our team is ready there to answer questions for you or do a free brainstorm. Come check it out. We also have the blog. All of our old shows are on the blog, and you can search by topic because we cover so much for entrepreneurs all the time. And we just want to be the #1 resource for entrepreneurs. That's what I'm shooting for, and startups, because, well, we all need the support, don't we? So, guys, thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We'll see you on next Friday. Bye.